A Russian armored vehicle covered in protective plating was blown up by a drone after the commander forgot to close the hatch. The embarrassing fail was caught on camera and shared by Ukraine's Ministry of Defense, as footage showed the metal turtle tank rolling along a muddy battlefield in Ukraine before it was destroyed. The Russian combat vehicle, clad in protective sheet metal in an attempt to stop Ukrainian drones from causing damage to the tank, could be seen shakily trucking along the path, unaware of the destruction that would hit just moments later. As the rusty-looking vehicle zoomed through the area, the clip cuts to the drone's perspective and shows the device penetrating the tank after getting past the outer sheet metal shell and slipping into the open hatch. The iron shed then bursts into flames, sending an orange blaze into the sky in a humiliating blunder from the Russian commander. Glowing sparks were sent flying as the fire continued to tear through the metal vehicle, and the tank was left a charred heap of ruins after the drone's impact. The makeshift plated tank cover only covers the sides and top of the vehicle, seemingly allowing operators to fire shells from the tank. These Russian makeshift tank covers have recently been seen popping up across Ukraine as Vladimir Putin's dwindling forces desperately grasp at methods that will protect them from powerful Ukraine drone attacks. In April, one video leaked to Telegram channels showed 3 Russian tanks with the metal covers plodding along through a battlefield at the Ukrainian-held town of Krasnohorivka as they came under fire. Although the covers do not appear to affect the tank's movement, their efficiency is not known given they seem to reduce much of the tank's visibility. Russian tanks have been hugely affected by Ukrainian drones after a NATO official told foreign police last month that more than 2/3 of targeted Russian tanks were destroyed by drones. Many are cheaply made, using off-the-shelf components that often carry improvised munitions including grenades or homemade bombs. Meanwhile, experts believe the Orange Shed tanks are likely modified to offer them protection against Ukrainian drone attacks, which are becoming increasingly prominent because of Ukraine's lack of conventional artillery shells. AFV Recognition, an authoritative social media account tracking Russian armor, wrote last month, "It has coverage at the rear leaving only the front open to drone attack, which in my opinion would be quite difficult to grade an FPV drone into if it's moving." These are easy to point and laugh at, but if it can cross open ground whilst being impervious to drones and then open a gap in a line which can be exploited, it has served its purpose. The shelled armor could also serve to mitigate AI recognition of drones, the account added in an Instagram post. Due to scarce resources, Ukraine has seemingly created an AI-powered drone that can lock on to Russian targets from further away and be more resilient to electronic countermeasures in efforts to ramp up its military capabilities as war rages on. Deputy Defense Minister Katerina Chernohorenko said Kyiv is developing a new system that could autonomously discern, hunt and strike its targets from afar. This would make the drones harder to shoot down or jam, she said, and would reduce the threat of retaliatory strikes to drone pilots. Our drones should be more effective and should be guided towards the target without any operators, and it should be based on visual navigation. We also call it last-mile targeting, homing in according to the image, she told The Telegraph. At first, military experts described the makeshift tank covers as an example of Russia's unpreparedness for war, but now it is widely acknowledged that improvised defenses are required because of the constant development of drone warfare. On the other hand, Ukraine's army has in recent days fought back strongly and has reportedly regained territory in a counterattack, and Vladimir Putin's army is struggling to keep up its momentum in its Kharkiv offensive, as it continues to suffer huge casualties. The Russians caught Ukraine off guard when they launched a surprise incursion into the Kharkiv region in early May, and initially Putin's troops made rapid gains and quickly closed in on the city of Vovchansk, just 73 kilometers from Ukraine's second-largest city. The Kremlin claimed it wanted to create a buffer zone to prevent cross-border raids and shelling by Kyiv's army. Last week, Russia's Ministry of Defense claimed it had captured half of Vovchansk, forcing Ukrainian troops to retreat. Russia's gains have come at the cost of huge casualties, and back in December, U.S. officials estimated that Russia had sustained at least 315,000 casualties, almost 90% of its original invading force. Ukraine's army has in recent days fought back strongly and has reportedly regained territory in a counterattack. New supplies of weapons and ammunition have started to flood in from the U.S., helping Kyiv's military to turn the tide on the battlefield. Ben Barry, a senior analyst at the International Institute for Strategic Studies, told Bloomberg that Russia's chances of securing victory in Ukraine this year had reduced significantly. He added, "Russia might have the largest number of soldiers, but a lot of their first-rate armored vehicles have been destroyed and it'll take years to rebuild the army to its 2022 level." However, Putin's army continues to suffer crippling losses, which the UK Ministry of Defense said were running as high as 1,200 per day in May. Russia's much larger population has allowed the Kremlin to plug the gaps in its frontline troops to a certain extent, but in August 2022, Putin ordered a 13% increase in the number of active soldiers, around 137,000 troops. This was followed by a partial mobilization of 300,000 reserves, with the Kremlin now aiming to enlist at least another 250,000 in 2024. Despite their superiority in both manpower and weapons, Russian commanders are failing to drive home their advantage. Dara Masakot, a senior fellow at the Carnegie Endowment for International Peace, said, "Russian commanders waste manpower in pursuit of their goals, and Ukrainian forces are effective on the defense when they are supplied with men and material."